Creative babble.
Insurance isn't one size fits all, and shopping for it shouldn't feel like squeezing into something that just doesn't fit. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they show you options that fit your budget. Enough hunting for discounts, trying to calculate rates, and tinkering with coverages. Maybe you're picking out your very first policy, or maybe you're just looking for something that works better for you and your family. Either way, they make it simple to see your options. No guesswork, no surprises. Ready to see how easy and fun shopping for car insurance can be? Visit Progressive.com and give the Name Your Price tool a try. Take the stress out of shopping and find coverage that fits your life, on your terms. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Last year, I got invited to speak at a cybersecurity conference in Dubai. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. Little old me, a podcaster from Raleigh, North Carolina, talking in front of hundreds of cybersecurity experts from around the world. Totally wild. At the event, I met a lot of interesting people, former identity thieves, hackers, amateur sleuths. One woman introduced me to a colleague of hers. She said he'd be perfect for the podcast. His name is William Ruzich. After I got home, William and I hopped on a video call and he told me this incredible story, not just about his investigative work, but his personal life too. And I was floored. William's father stole his identity while he was deployed in Afghanistan. And when William came home from war, he found bills, liens, and creditors in his own name. He had to turn his father in for fraud. Then William told me that he went to work hunting fraudsters from around the globe. Think of him as an international private intelligence operative, tracking down the people who steal, scam, and cheat just like his dad. And then guess what? I lost the recording. I searched everywhere. And to make matters worse, I forgot William's last name, so I couldn't even look up his email. I figured that this story was gone for good. The pretend episode that never was. Then, a year later, I get a message. It's William, just checking in. I told him, "Oh my God, I am so glad to hear from you." So we set up a new call. I'm Javier Leiva, and this is Pretend. Stories about real people pretending to be someone else. Can you believe it? Summer's almost over, and now we have to get ready for fall. And August is the best time to start planning your new wardrobe. You guys already know I'm a big fan of quince. I just love quince because it's really made out of great material. It looks like it's going to last forever, and it's the clothes that I wear almost every single day. They have ultra soft organic cotton tees, premium Mongolian cashmere sweaters. So take a look at your closet. If things are starting to look a little worn out, quince is a great place to make an upgrade. They have premium denim, chinos, from just $60. Everything I've received so far fits perfectly, it looks good, and the best part is that Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They're good guys too. They work with ethical factories, they cut out the middleman. I know that my best find at Quince was their Protect golf pants. I wear those things everywhere. I could wear them with a nice shirt, but I could also wear it with a t-shirt. So upgrade your everyday. Go to quince.com/pretendpod for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/pretendpod for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pretendpod. If you're at a dinner party, and somebody asks you, like, what do you do for a living? Tell me how does that conversation go?
Usually, it depends who the company is. So I was out with a colleague the other day and they asked us like what we did. And so I was just like, oh, I'm a political advisor, which that's not a lie. I do advise on a political level with certain governments. And so, yeah, so I just very broad, and usually people just like.
That way you don't have to get into it. Right?
Yeah. Or people just like, they hear politics and like, oh God. And they just like kind of drown
Move
out.
on.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have a really cool job, and I'm sure it's like a cool bar trick, like just even telling people just one of your crazy investigations, I'm sure.
I'm not one for fame. I don't want attention. I just want to blend, I'm covered in tattoos. I'm a big guy. Like everyone, I stand out, but I don't want to stand out.
Think of him as a private for hire CIA operative who happens to have a team of analysts and hackers at his disposal. The only difference is he doesn't have a badge. William was telling me about a case that came to him through a sheriff's department. A local guy, a personal friend of the sheriff, got his phone hacked.
Somebody got inside of his phone. So basically what they did was like SIM swapping. They paid some guy in America to go into the fake ID, get a new SIM card. They got into his phone, and then they got into his PayPal, his bank account, and I think like his crypto account, and they just flushed it within a matter of like days. And he never got any notification that this is happening. And so they gave us all the information. They gave us like the PayPal, like all the login information, so like IP addresses. So what we did was we found like they had an IP address. I ran it through our database. We have like a giant database with over like 10 billion different records. And it popped up with somebody that was in New York, and it correlated with the login. So I'm like, this has to be it.
So he did the only thing that made sense. He picked up the phone.
And so I called the kid up, and I was like, hey, you never paid your bills. And he's like, what? I was like, come on, we gave you the money, so you need to pay your bills. And the kid was like, no, I'm sorry, whatever.
Think about what he's actually doing. He's calling a stranger he believes is involved in draining a man's bank accounts. If he opens up with, I know you committed fraud, the kid will just hang up immediately, and that was the end of that. William told me that part of how this works is all psychological. He'll let a target know just how much he already knows about them. Their family's names, where they travel, things they never would expect a stranger to find. The kid must have been wondering, who the hell is this guy? It's less of a threat and more of a demonstration. You can't hide from me, so you might as well talk. It's lying, it's manipulation, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. William told me in an email, why can't we fight fire with fire? As long as we're not breaking the law. This is what people in the industry call social engineering, otherwise known as lying.
He's like, I'll give you the other contact. And so he gave us his contact in South Africa.
Now, William is pulling on this thread. The man in South Africa only speaks Afrikaans. Afrikaans is a daughter language of Dutch.
And I speak enough Dutch to get by. And so we started speaking on that level. I don't know. I just started connecting with the guy. I was just I'm like, hey, you stole money from my client, and you don't know who my client is, but he's not someone you want to steal money from. And then he was just like, hey man, these guys that hired us, they didn't pay me. So I'm out for them as well. Luckily for my part is that the guy got burned in South Africa, and I spoke Dutch. So we had some kind of mutual level of hey, we both been burned. You burned my client. You've been burned. Let's burn these guys. And then I'll make sure that your name's not in this.
William says that he earned the trust of this man, and little by little, he starts explaining how the whole scheme works. The South African man told him.
So then he kind of gave me the breakdown of it. He goes, so we hired this guy out, and so they hired me to be the researcher. So he would research everybody in the United States, and he would find the stringers or the guys that would get the fake IDs. He would find the guys in New York that would kind of facilitate the transaction as well, the money mules. And then there was another guy that was helping launder the money. He was in Denmark. And then there was two kids that were like 26 years old in Spain. And he goes, I'll introduce you to them because they owe me about $30,000. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. And so he puts me in their Telegram group.
Inside their Telegram group chat, it was basically black market bartering. Who's got a login to pull someone's social security number? Who's got access to someone's tax filings?
All this crazy stuff. And they were getting this stuff. And so like they asked one time on something and like I gave them some like fraudulent one. And they're like, oh, bro, this is good. And then they kind of like gave me a little bit more than they should have about them. And then so I just started running it against like our database, other databases, and then finally pulled up these kids that were 26, just had 56 million bucks. And they were just blowing through like Coke and having cars, fast cars, all this kind of stuff. And then handed over to Secret Service. And they're like, how did you get this? And I'm like, you ever just talk to the criminal?
William told me about another case. This one, he said, was still active. A man had taken something like $86 million from an investor and then vanished. The exact dollar amount doesn't really matter to him because William's job is just to find the guy.
He owned like a bunch of hotel chains or something along those lines, and he got investors' money. He was just like, oh, company went bankrupt, and then he just disappeared.
Like many of William's stories, I couldn't verify it, but that's the nature of the business. He doesn't know what ends up happening with many of the cases he works on. Like I said earlier, he doesn't have a badge. He's like an international bounty hunter, except at the end of the chase, he passes off the baton to law enforcement. But let's get back to the story. So basically, this guy owes a ton of money and skips out of town.
And we looked at his like house out, and I think it was one part of LA, and then he had a bunch of other properties, and he was a Chinese national.
So how do you find someone who doesn't want to be found? Someone who could be anywhere in the world.
So by using like consumer data that, you know, you can buy out there from like different app companies and whatnot, we were able to say like, well, A, he's not at the house that you guys think he is. So with that consumer data, I was able to go, you know, all right, he sleeps here. He's been here at this beach house. He's been here over at this place in Toronto.
Here's something that sounds like spycraft, but actually isn't. Since around 2001, there's been a hobby called war driving. These days, people drive around with an app running, and it silently logs every Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signal that their phone picks up, then tags it with the GPS coordinates. And all of this is uploaded to a free public website that anyone can search.
And they'll collect all your like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth data, and they'll post it on like there's like a website. It's a free kind of website. You can go in and look. And they named their house, the like router, after their name back
right.
back in 2000.
You're like,
yeah, it's so easy. So you're just giving yourself away.
So I probably shouldn't name my Wi-Fi router Javier's house. Stick to the classics like it hurts when I pee or hide yo kids, hide yo Wi-Fi. This type of data collection is not hacking, it's just a hobby. People driving around, mapping the wireless world one street at a time. And the database is huge. I'm talking millions of networks dating back years. And you might be asking yourself, why do people even do this? Some are security researchers trying to prove how exposed open networks really are. And some of them are just collectors of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals. It's like a scavenger hunt with a leaderboard, and all of this gets uploaded to a free website. Man, I wish I had that kind of time. And for investigators like William, this Wi-Fi and Bluetooth data is gold.
And so I'm like, here's the 5 addresses, send people out there, and then bam, they ended up finding them and serving them.
I think that normies, like people who are not in this world, would be shocked to know how much commercial data is out there, Then there's the location data itself. 2 companies, Babel Street and Anomaly 6, buy up location data harvested from ordinary apps on your phone, like the weather app, the game you downloaded, anything that quietly shares your GPS position with advertisers. And then they resell that data to government, to defense agencies, to intelligence agencies. In 2018, the Supreme Court ruled that police need a warrant to track your phone's location through your cell phone carrier. And then, just this June, the court went even further, ruling that even asking a company like Google to hand over everyone's location in any given area counts as a search. And so police need a warrant for that as well. But none of that touches what these companies like Babel Street and Anomaly 6 do, because they are not compelled to hand over anything. They actually want cops to buy your location data on the open market. Homeland Security, ICE, the Secret Service, they've all been reported buying this exact same kind of data, and no warrant needed. Technically, they're not tracking you. They're just shopping. And we should all be very concerned about that. The same tool is available to the bad guys, right?
Yeah. If they do their KYC properly, if they don't do their KYC properly, yeah, you can.
If they do their KYC properly, means that if the data vendor is actually checking that the customer is a licensed investigator, a law firm, a real business with a legitimate use case, then presumably these bad actors get screened out. So the entire safety of this world rests on whether we can trust these data companies. No law, no license required. No independent oversight body is actually gatekeeping who gets to buy Americans' locations in bulk. You're telling me this whole thing is based on the honor system? I think a lot of people don't realize that you're walking with a tracking device, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The Bluetooth. Like, this is a tracking device. I have an analyst. He has an implant in his back for his nerve, and that gives off a Bluetooth. Or the people that have that
hearing aids.
yeah, anything that gives off a radio signal.
Yeah,
you can track that. Like, we have a tool that does that, and we teach governments how to do it. But you can exploit that and get into your Bluetooth, make it think like it's a device, and connect it with it, and then you can sit there and track it as long as it's within range.
In this day and age, there's no expectation of privacy, and there's nowhere to hide. There are so many ways to track people down. When we come back from the break, William tells us about his father's fraud. Then he takes me inside the industry where he works now, an industry that's supposed to be full of good guys, except some of them aren't. Can you believe it? Summer's almost over, and now we have to get ready for fall. And August is the best time to start planning your new wardrobe. You guys already know I'm a big fan of Quince. I just love Quince because it's really made out of great material. It looks like it's going to last forever, and it's the clothes that I wear almost every single day. They have ultra soft organic cotton tees, premium Mongolian cashmere sweaters. So take a look at your closet. If things are starting to look a little worn out, Quince is a great place to make an upgrade. They have premium denim, chinos, from just $60. Everything I've received so far fits perfectly, it looks good, and the best part is that Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They're good guys too. They work with ethical factories, they cut out the middleman. I know that my best find at Quince was their Protect golf pants. I wear those things everywhere. I could wear them with a nice shirt, but I could also wear it with a t-shirt. So upgrade your everyday. Go to quince.com/pretendpod for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/pretendpod for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pretendpod.
Insurance isn't one size fits all, and shopping for it shouldn't feel like squeezing into something that just doesn't fit. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they show you options that fit your budget. Enough hunting for discounts, trying to calculate rates, and tinkering with coverages. Maybe you're picking out your very first policy, or maybe you're just looking for something that works better for you and your family. Either way, they make it simple to see your options. No guesswork, no surprises. Ready to see how easy and fun shopping for car insurance can be? Visit Progressive.com and give the Name Your Price tool a try. Take the stress out of shopping and find coverage that fits your life, on your terms. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Fraud is William's origin story, whether he would frame it that way or not. His father stole his identity while he was at war, racking up a bunch of debt under his son's name. So William decided that he wasn't going to follow his father's footsteps. He went into a business built on catching people just like that.
That brings me to my next question, because I've been to a lot of these conferences. There's a lot of players in this field, and some of them are legit and some of them aren't, and it's hard to tell who's who, really.
I put it this way. So my dad was in the Marine Corps, and he would say, anybody out there that talks a big game about like their combat experience, like over and over and over again, they're full of shit. And he goes, there'll be a person that just talks about it one time, or they won't say a word about it. And then you'll just know. I've had several people that have come to me and said that were victims.
But here's the thing about that business, though. The clients who show up aren't calm. They're in crisis. Somebody just took their money and they need it back fast. There's no time to vet who they're hiring. And William says that that's exactly what some people in the industry count on.
They were victims, like double victims, I guess you would call it. They were stolen from, and they went there and they stole their money, and they were like, can you help us?
A lot of these companies in the fraud prevention business, William says, are just as slimy as the con artists that they claim to catch. He found out firsthand at a conference he was speaking at in Thailand.
I knew exactly who they were. They were a crypto asset recovery company. I knew from like investigating them already. And I knew from talking to someone at the FBI that they were like under investigation. And I couldn't believe that they were there. It happens all the time. Like at these conferences, it's either you'll meet 50% of them will be real, then the rest will just be like, just random fraudsters that are looking to try to get their foot in the door or something.
That's interesting. And you actually called them out, but you let them know that you knew. Like,
oh, yeah.
They knew that you knew what was going on.
Yeah. And I just turned and I was like, you know what? I know half of us in the room here are like, we're trying to solve this problem and get this out of our way. And it doesn't affect us any more than it already does. But there's some of you in this room that are the problem. And I know who you are. And you just enjoy your little vacation in Thailand right now because you're under investigation by the FBI. And then I just like did a mic drop, and everyone was just like,
awkward.
What did he say? And then I had people come up to me and they're like, is it those people over there? And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything but they knew who they were.
If you know, you know.
You know. Yeah.
That's the William who's comfortable calling out the fraudsters in a room full of strangers. But I could tell that this next story, he was bracing for it because it's easier to talk about someone else's fraud than your own family's.
So this is the part of the story I think is going to perk people's ears, because you're coming back from Afghanistan and you come home to like a huge surprise. And that's an understatement, right?
Yeah. My mom and dad divorced when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And so my dad lived in Florida. My mom lived in Chicago, where we're from. And so my dad was, living his life down in Florida, Playboy life, whatnot.
While he was still deployed, months before he even came home, letters started showing up at his barracks.
And they're just like, hey, Ruzich, like, what's going on? Like, you taking out loans or this and that? I'm like, oh, what are you talking about, sir? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're just like, well, it says here, like down in Pinellas County, Florida, like you got a tax lien against your house and this. I go, I never lived there, sir. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Someone using his name and his social security number was taking out loans using William's name.
Come to find out, it was like my dad.
His dad was dating a woman who had a grown son of her own. He was in his early 20s, and at some point he made a fake ID using William's identity and started using it to open up cell phone accounts, car loans, maybe even a house.
And it was her son that was helping him with the fraud. But the thing was, it wasn't like they were trying to enrich themselves. Like my dad he was more along the lines of like, because his credit was so screwed, because he's done this for years. He was just trying to do it just to maintain, the lifestyle that he had. And then, but he would always pay off his stuff, but it was just like, I think it just kept compiling I talked to an officer down in Florida, and we got him arrested. And he's just like, hey, you want to press charges? I go, I don't really care.
William tells me that his father was never charged.
This isn't the first time I've heard of my dad being in trouble. Like when I was back at Fort Gordon for training, he called me up and he was just like, they nicked me for, they said I stole some tools and whatnot. And like, my dad used to do some weird stuff. He'd go to Home Depot, buy a tool, use that tool for the job, and go back to Home Depot, be like, the tool didn't work, and then return it. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
I mean, who hasn't done that, right? Yeah.
I've never, it was just so random.
But that's how like certain people think, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Some people are just opportunists, right? Like,
Yeah.
And like even the stuff that you were saying is like, I mean, for the most part, actually, you probably have met people who are career con men.
Yeah.
Like those people are like, that's their job to be a con man. But like the con man, the way we traditionally think about it, for the most part, they don't go in with the plan of screwing somebody over. It's like one of those things where they get in over their head, and then it's like it's either you or me, and they pick me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that a fair representation of your dad?
I want to say that he would just take advantage of a situation. If he saw like, hey, I can do this, not get in trouble, let's do it. It was, I think the biggest realization I knew my dad was probably involved in fraud when I was like maybe 15 years old, when I was a stupid kid and I tattooed myself with like a needle and thread, whatever. And my dad's like, that looks stupid. You're going to get it covered up. My dad made me a fake ID to say I was 16 years old. And I'm like, how did you nick this? Like, it was very strange. And then I was supposed to live down there with him in Florida, and he lied on my job application and all this kind of, I was like, no, this is weird. Like, why would you do this? Like, just tell him who I am. Like, tell him I'm 15 years old. You work in this area, you're surrounded by odd people all the time. And they don't make it, people aren't human to them. Like these people that are scamming, they're not human.
They're just detached. Yeah,
they're detached from them. And so that, like, I get that if you were doing that to other people, but your own son or your own family members, like that's cold.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like, how was your relationship before? Like you said, you got him arrested. Like, were you guys close, or like how was that?
I used to play football a lot, and like he wanted me to go to Notre Dame, and like so we were like tight, like we were good. I did a little, like after like a lot of stuff came out, I did a big investigation on him, and I was just like, you know what, I need to know more about him, because I really actually don't know who my father is, to be honest with you. And I cracked into some of his like dating profile, like old dating profiles and whatnot, and he had stuff written in there like, I have two sons. They're my life. Like I love my sons, but and I was like, okay, that really did, like, I was like, okay, he was telling people that.
That's good. Yeah.
And so like our relationship was, I would say it was good. Like even when I joined the Army, I remember he came down for my graduation, and he was so proud. He was like, your like all of us are like really proud of you, and I'm glad you're doing something in your life. And so like, like it was good. I still wish he was alive today. Like I would really look past this. I'd be like, hey man,
Yeah.
I agree that, what you did was shitty, but you're my dad, so unless he kept doing it, then I'd be like, all right, bro.
This stuff is complicated, right? It's not like he screwed you over, like, hey, he's your dad, right? And you had really good moments with him too, right? Growing up. You didn't know him like that. You knew him as your dad, the guy you played football with and all that. And, but I would imagine that you probably didn't feel the way you do now when you came back from Afghanistan. And
No, I just like, it's like, dude, get the fuck out of my life. I was on the phone with him, and I was just like, just go fucking die. Like, leave me alone. And then, I think like a year later, like he died. He died of type 2 diabetes on the side of the road. And, and that was the last time I talked to him. I felt nothing. I was just numb to it. I was like, you did this to your own son.
People don't think about like, oh, well, this happened to me, and this is how who I am because of that. Like people don't think about that. But retrospectively, like, do you feel like your experience with your dad and like your career, how do you hold those two things together?
I mean, I live a great life. Like I'm blessed with everything I have. Like I can't let just, you know, a little bit of daddy issues like destroy my entire life, or let it, you know, like I have great people surrounding me.
William grew up with a guy who never thought twice about scamming his own kid. And now he spends his career trying to catch people who do the same thing to others. He's picked up a few of his dad's instincts along the way. Fight fire with fire, he calls it. Trying to stay on the right side of that line most of the time. He's also a hard guy to pin down. William doesn't like to talk about where he actually lives. He's basically a ghost. I know for a fact that someone spent 2 years trying to find him for something official and couldn't.
But that's not where he lives.
Like, if you can find me, I will give you money, because like I keep a very low profile, and yeah, there might be like public information out there about me, but like it ain't true. Like
All right, that's it for today's show. Every now and then, I like to feature a small business who is also a Patreon supporter of this show. And today we're going to feature a book called Kingdom Forge. It's a book that teaches kids about online safety. Think of A Diary of a Wimpy Kid meets Ready Player One. It's a fast-paced thriller about friendship, trust, and the hidden dangers of the online world. Online predators are using the gaming platforms our kids love to target them, and most kids have no idea what's happening. Kingdom Forge is a fun book that kids will actually want to read, and then it also gives parents and teachers a natural way to start having these conversations about online safety. There's no lectures, just a story that sticks. So check out Kingdom Forge by Anders Edwards, a Patreon supporter of this show. If you're a Patreon supporter and you have a small business that you would like me to talk about for free, send me a message or an email at javier@pretendradio.org. We are gearing up for a massive series on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. For those of you who listened to the last episode, there was a tease, and I wanted to tease it because I want to grow my YouTube and Instagram and TikTok accounts. I have a massive podcast audience, but a very small presence on social media. So please do me a favor. Go to TikTok, go to YouTube, go to Instagram, wherever you like to go, and find me at Pretend Pod. If we all do it at once, if we all start following and liking and commenting on my content, maybe I have a fighting chance. You know, I don't know if you follow the podcast industry, but we're having kind of like an existential crisis right now. They're saying these audio podcasts, if they don't move to video, they're gonna die. And I don't want to die, and I don't want this thing to go away. So please follow me on those platforms. I'm going to try to create more content on those platforms, and it's going to be a different experience, but I want you along for the ride. So let's do this, all right? As soon as you're done with this episode, go follow me on social media at PretendPod. All right, that's it for today's episode. It was written by me, Javier Leiva, and edited by the talented Puneeth Shenoy with the Podcast Pundits. Our theme music is by Joe Basile with thechicken.net. All right, that's all I got for today. Talk to you real soon.
I'm not giving up.
I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
No, stop!
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.
Creative Babble.